A call to order, Town of St. John Board of Zoning Appeals for January 16th, 2023. Please all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Sergio, can we please have a roll call?
Bob Rolson,
Here.
Yolanda Cardona is not here today. Drago Popovic,
Here.
Brandon Sheeran,
Here.
Mark LaRue,
Here.
Attorney Adam Decker,
Here.
Councilman Liaison Brian Blazak,
Present.
and Town Manager Joe Wizawati.
Present.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is election of officers, Chairman, Vice Chair, and Secretary. Would someone like to make a motion for election of officers?
I'd like to make a motion for Mark LaRue to be chairman.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Next, Vice Chairman. I'd like to make a motion for that.
I'd like to make a motion to make John Kennedy vice
John
president.
Kennedy's no longer on the board.
Oh, he's off?
Yep.
Oh, I didn't know
You can make Yolanda, since she's not here.
that. Yolanda it is. Welcome, Yolanda.
I have a motion for Vice Chair Yolanda, and I'm sorry, I didn't get her last name.
Cardona.
Cardona, thank you. Mr. Blazak. I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Last is Secretary. Motion for Secretary. I'd like to make a motion that Drago Popovic will be, oh, I'm sorry, let's make it Mr. Brendan Sheeran, since he was the last time. Keep it there. We can't hear how it was here. I have a motion. Do I have a second? I motion that first one.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Nay.
You're in. Next on the agenda, minutes from December 19th, 2022, Board of Zoning Appeals. Did everyone have an opportunity to review those minutes?
Yep.
Motion to approve the minutes.
Motion to approve December 19th, 2022 meeting minutes, regular meeting minutes.
And I will second it.
Thank you very much. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, minutes were done. Next on the agenda, public hearing 2023-01, developmental variance from St. John MC 24-520 to St. John MC 24-516 to allow replacement of a private fence along the property line within the Vision Triangle at 10704 Manor Drive, St. John, Indiana. Michelle Rosen, applicant owner, True Line Fence. Daniel, I'm sorry, Daniel, I will butcher your last name.
Danielle Todosiewicz.
Thank you very much.
Oh, sorry, there you are.
I'm gonna guess that you are Michelle.
No, I'm Michelle.
I'm sorry. Michelle, would you like to come to the podium as well? Please identify yourselves.
Okay, you're the homeowner, Michelle Rosen. And I'm Danielle Todosiewicz. I'm representing the contractor.
Okay.
Basically, she had an existing fence.
Before you get started, I think we
Okay.
have an issue with this, right, Mr.?
Well, we were presented with the certified mail receipts that simply confirm that certain envelopes were sent by certified mail to various persons who we believe were probably identified on a list that was prepared by the auditor's office of identifying those persons living within 300 feet of the subject property.
Correct. There was altogether 34 that I sent out.
Right, so typically, the rules of the Board of Zoning Appeals requires that information, the list identifying those property owners along with the certified mail receipts be presented at least 5 business days prior to the public hearing date. so that the staff can review that to ensure that notice has been properly given in conformance with law. That also includes, for example, the proof of publication, which is required by law to publish notice and advertise the hearing. And I'm told by the staff that that hasn't been presented as far as a proof of publication.
Okay, they
So
both.
there's a
I'm
couple of,
sorry.
those are the items, Mr. President.
Thank you.
Regarding those items that are required to be submitted by the rules at least 5 days prior to the public hearing.
Okay.
So that's where I think at this point, I think we should look at the opportunity to delay this till next meeting because we didn't receive all your documents in a timely manner.
Okay, I had spoke with,
Ma'am, I'm just telling you what I've been told by the staff.
through
that-
email, okay?
Okay.
And they were well aware that I was not in town. I had emailed them the receipts from the certified mail and gave him all the green and white receipts. Prior to that, there was the receipts that were emailed from the public hearing notices, which, where are they at? To Jenna. Both public hearing notices that were in the newspapers, those receipts she has.
Okay, well, what I've been told by staff is that they haven't received them 5 days prior to this meeting, so.
They received them they received both of that prior to 5 days.
So, Mr.
Before I
Chairman, I'd
left.
like to just advise that we received these green
Yes.
receipts an hour ago.
Yes,
An
not
hour
even an
ago.
hour ago,
Again.
just,
Not even an hour ago, 20 minutes ago.
So,
Yes.
Again, that's part of the package
And as
that
part of
needs-
the list, or as part of us confirming,
Yeah.
we didn't receive a list from the assessor's office, which identifies properties within 300. We don't have a list to compare these receipts that which we received 20 minutes ago.
which is,
So,
Again, that's what he's getting, Mr.
okay,
Sergio's
so,
getting to, is the fact that we've got to have this entire package 5 days prior to this meeting, so we can make sure, and we can take that information, make sure it's all accurate with the list of those residents that live near, or 500 feet, or whatever the rules are prior to this meeting. So
okay,
if you'd like it to defer, we can push this off to the next meeting. But right now, you don't qualify with all the information that you're supposed to have
Are you
prior
serious?
to this meeting. So I'm giving that option. We could take it to the board and say, we'll push it to the next meeting, or
or,
that's it. I mean, you let me know what you'd like to do.
okay, yeah, we'll defer it.
Okay, so that comes to the board to defer. So I'm going to present to the board,
So when is the next meeting, a month?
Month.
a month from now.
Okay, so I just need to bring,
Just need to regroup with Sergio and his staff and find out, make sure you have all your documents for the meeting. I don't
Okay.
think she'll have to put it in.
I guess
Am I
the
saying
only
something incorrect,
documents
Mr.
I'm
Becker? You're giving me a
missing
look,
is-
so-
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I would say if the applicant submits satisfactory evidence of the proof of publication in the newspaper, as well as the list identifying the, property owners to receive notices, I would recommend that you basically continue the hearing and allow that hearing to be held next month.
Okay,
And make a public statement at tonight's meeting, because there may be persons in attendance at tonight's meeting
gotcha.
who are here to speak either for or against this item. And so if the board elects to defer to next month, then they should, have the opportunity to speak. at
So it'll be
that day.
deferral or continuance? I'll make sure I have that language correct.
Well, I guess technically I would call it a continuance of the hearing, but you're simply, you would not require, if satisfactory evidence has been presented, you would not require the applicant to resubmit or re-advertise, if you will.
That was
for
my
next
next question.
meeting.
I didn't think, we've done it before where they didn't have all their information, and they didn't have to
I
resubmit.
have the 2 pieces of paper that I sent to her for the ads that were sent in both papers. I have the receipts with me here. I mean, I know that he wants the the list that is from, I guess, your guys, that I would assume you guys would have the list, wouldn't you? The list of,
You were provided an affidavit that's signed by the assessor's office that gives you a list of adjacent property owners within 300 feet. They authorize, or they confirm that they gave you true in fact adjacent property owners within 300 feet. We don't have that.
oh, I got you, because of what I sent to them, that the letter that you guys gave to me to send to them?
Yeah.
Okay.
So there is a form that you were provided with that you.
I did send to
send
them,
it
and they
to
emailed me back.
The assessor's office, and they confirmed that they did provide you with that accurate list. We don't have that list to compare the work that you've done with that list that the assessor's office provided for you.
You don't have that?
We don't have
Okay.
that.
All right, unfortunately, that doesn't help us then.
Okay, with that said, I'll put to the board to make a motion for continuance of this petitioner until next month. I have a motion for this.
I make a motion to defer the, 20, the property on 10704 Manor Drive, St. John, Indiana, till next meeting.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We'll see
Okay.
you next month.
Did
Make sure
you, do, I don't have to repost,
No, ma'am.
Okay.
There's no need to repost, but I would suggest, make sure you contact,
yeah, I just need to talk to Sergio to make sure that's all I need.
And-
Just that piece of paper is all I need then?
So before you contact me, please reread the emails that you were forwarded or submitted to probably in
Right.
the last couple of weeks, yeah.
Right,
So I
right.
would do a search on that and then reread those emails, and then if you need anything else, feel free to contact me.
please
Okay.
make sure you have all this stuff together at least 5 days prior to the next meeting, ma'am. So
And
we
ma'am,
have,
I
we have
will-
all of our information.
Okay.
Yep, sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I was going to add that the proof of publication is a separate document that the newspapers will send to you.
Send you? You want
Which
that?
is essentially an yes, that's required. That's one of the requirements.
Okay.
It's essentially an affidavit by the newspaper saying this was
Right,
published
they
on this
said they would send that if needed, yeah.
It is required.
Okay. Okay,
Becker.
well, they sent, I have the receipts, that's all. I
So
thought
we
that
need
was-
to list the names that these certified letters were going out to and the proof affidavit that, from the paper, the newspaper, correct? That's what she needs?
Yes, we need the
Okay.
list from the assessor's office and the proof of publication.
Publication. And what date is it reconvene? What date?
I don't
is-
have the list
No.
in
It
front of
is
us.
That's February
February 20th.
3rd? Oh, the third
February
Monday of the
20th.
month? Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Next on the agenda, 2023-202, developmental variance, St. John MC 24-125, B, to allow reconstruction of a home in a previous footprint, which is approximately 279 square feet, smaller than the ordinance allows at 10652 Manor Drive, St. John. Kevin and Karen Cole, applicants, owners, and Paul
Whitener.
I always pronounce your name wrong. I don't know why, Paul. I apologize. I see all those extra letters and my tongue gets fried, so, thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
As everyone knows, on the 22nd of October, the Coles home caught on fire.
Yeah.
It was a bad one. It's been determined by the insurance company that the home is a 100% loss, foundation and all. So, yes, and just for everyone's knowledge, we're at the point where the cost to rebuild that exact house is exceeding the limits of their policy. So, we're here asking to, because the ordinance has changed in the 25 years that they've been there, it requires a larger home be built on that lot, because this is now considered a reconstruction. Once we have to take the foundation out, the building department is considering that this is now a new construction home and no longer a remodel. So we have to follow every ordinance that the town has, which, of course, we ran into this one where the limits for a story and a half are larger than what the home is now. And we're under 279 feet. So what we're asking this board is to approve a variance to allow us to rebuild the home that was there as it was, which is 279 square feet, less than the ordinance allows. It would still be a conforming house to the neighborhood. Actually, the pictures I submitted were a house which is, there's 3 or 4 houses on their block exactly like theirs, but I submitted pictures of course, their home is 2/3 gone, but I went up the street 4 houses and submitted a picture of basically that is their house in duplicate.
What was the current, I'm sorry, what was the square footage of the home prior to?
Well, the main living area, the way it's calculated, we're 1,282. Okay, that is, if I walk over here, that's going to be the dimensions of this level and the bedroom level.
Okay.
1,282.
Okay.
Okay. So the garage is not included in that square footage, and then their family room was finished downstairs. They had a bathroom and a family room, and a spare room, and a laundry in that area. But that square footage that's not calculable, okay, because it's stacked. So, because it goes into the definition of what the town considers a 1.5-story home is.
Okay. So it's a tri-level
Yes,
essentially.
well, it's a quad level, they have a 4th basement, but basically, yes, a tri-level, yes,
Okay.
yes.
Well, it's tri or quad, so it's a quad.
It's a quad,
Okay.
yes. And it will be, that's what we intend on replacing.
Still that same.
Right.
Okay, okay. As far as exterior, we're not looking at that, I take that back, so we had nothing to do with that. Any questions from the board with regards to what Mr. Whitner is trying to do here with the matching the old square footage versus the new requirement?
You're pulling the foundation out and everything?
We have to, yes, yeah. The fire got up to almost 2,000 degrees in the garage, and it just melts the concrete. Plus, you have to realize all the contaminants, the car was in there, the car was destroyed. You have a lot of contaminants going into that concrete. You're never going to guarantee that you can get that stuff out of there, so it just has to be ripped out.
Sorry to hear this.
Yeah.
I mean, they left with virtually nothing.
Yeah, I'm sorry to
I
hear.
mean, Kevin was at work. Her and the dog got out, with
Well, thank God for that.
yes, exactly, yeah. I mean, they did salvage those couple of our brochures, though. They were downstairs in the spare bedroom. They found those for me. My contract and my brochures lasted, so. I was lucky enough to build their home 25 years ago, and then they contacted me to do it again, so.
Gotcha, okay.
I had only retired, actually, built my last houses here in St. John, so I retired in February, so.
He's mentioned.
Figured out all the mistakes along the way.
They're gonna have a fantastic home when it's done, when we bring it up to these standards, so.
Is what then, 15 something? I want to take it down to 79, so.
I'm okay with this.
Sergio, the new ordinance is how much? What's the square footage? Do the math here.
2,100.
2,100?
Yeah.
That's more than 279.
I may come up with 1821. So we must, no, you know what? We did calculate the family room then. The family room is in there. That square
Yeah.
footage is in that, in the 2,100. That's 1.5 stories?
Yes.
Okay. Then yes, the family room is
Plus that
included in
third-
that. I
third level's
apologize.
then part of it.
Yes.
which is- Most
Yeah.
of those are, I believe, because they probably do have access or some sort of
Egress.
egress out the back or
Yes.
something in some fashion or another. Okay, all right. So I'm say the other way is I know my math is bad today. but
Right.
That's really bad.
Right.
If that were the case, okay.
Because Jen and I went over that in detail to come up with that square footage, so.
If there's no questions for Mr. Whitner, if you please have a seat. And is
Thank you.
anyone here regarding this particular variance request from the petitioner? Please come up to the podium and let us know what your thoughts are regarding this. Anybody signed in, Brian, for that, do you know? No? Okay. Yes, sir. Please identify who you are.
Hello, I'm Ed Gordon. I live on Manor Drive, not directly across the street from the Coles.
What's your address too, would you please?
My interest,
Your address.
oh, my address is 10667 Manor,
Thank you.
so I'm one house over from, directly across the street from them. I've been their neighbor for as long as they've been there, and so I just want to say that I approve their rebuilding of their home. I stood in their front yard and watched their house burn, and in about an hour and a half, they lost everything they had. So I approve their rebuilding of the house.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Is there anyone else here regarding this? Thank you. Is it name and address, please?
I'm Rick Thomas. I'm at 10705 Manor. So I'm on the southeast corner near their home. And in my book, they're not changing anything that was there already. Their house was good when it was built. It's just like other homes in the neighborhood. Reducing it for the ordinance is not going to be a deterrence to the neighborhood at all. So I think it's great that we let them do it.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Yep.
Anyone else here regarding this petitioner's request? If not, we'll close open, public comment. Mr. Whitner, if you please step up back to the podium. Any other questions, or anyone would like to make a motion regarding the petitioner's request?
I'll make a motion to approve, to allow the reconstruction of the home to the previous footprint at 10652 Manor Drive.
You find any facts there, Brendan?
I have one.
Your last page.
The approval will not be injurious to public health, safety, morals, comfort, or the general welfare of the community. Use and the value of the area adjacent to the property, including the variance, will not be affected in a substantially adverse manner. The strict application of the terms of the zoning ordinance will result in a practical difficulty in the use of the property.
Any contingencies or conditions regarding this?
Nope.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you very much.
Folks,
Yep, good luck.
Sorry
Thank you.
for what you guys had to go through.
next on the agenda, 2023-03, use variance from St. John MC 24-192 and St. John MC 24-342 in sequence to St. John MC 2445 to allow a use variance in indoor self-storage facility within C2 Highway Commercial District at US 41 District at 10045 Earl Drive. Folks, can we please be quiet, leaving? No one listens to me anyway. Let's do this thing.
Got a gavel.
Jonathan Lund, applicant, Doug Reddick, agent, DVG. Good to see you guys again.
Good evening, Doug Reddick of DBG. Jonathan Lund is the applicant for this project. We are here to request a use variance for a proposed indoor self-storage facility. This is located on, it says it fronts on Earl Drive, but it also has access to Ravenwood Drive, kind of behind the, where the Arby's is and the strip mall there.
Yep.
And what's just to the north again, Jonathan?
That's the Goodwill.
The Goodwill is immediately north of it.
The
And
non-tax-paying
and the new Anytime Fitness is immediately south of this lot. So some of you may recall, there was 3 lots here that were replatted into 2 lots when Anytime Fitness came in. So this is like a original lot and a half. Now it's one large remaining lot, a little bit over 2 acres? 2.5 acres. So Jonathan has done many of these in the past, but it's kind of a different concept for self-storage. Instead of just having garage doors that you pull up to and a gated entrance and everything, this is all indoor. So there's drive-in entrances at both sides of the building, and we'll get to that as to why that's like that in a minute. So you basically pull your car into a climate-controlled garage, and then you walk through heated and cooled hallways to your storage units. It's a unique lot because there's about 15 feet of elevation change from Ravenwood down to Earl. So Ravenwood is quite a bit higher. So kind of think like a house with a walkout basement, if you will. So we're going to have access on the upper level from Ravenwood and access to the lower level from Earl Drive. And so he's taking advantage of the topography. And in this case, it really works out well for what he wants to do here. So it's that's what we're here for. Jonathan can give you some more details. He has a nice brochure, which I think you guys already have. which, but this is kind of the facility, what it looks like. That'll be the garage on the Earl Drive side where you would pull in. That's like a drive-through garage. So you pull in, close the door, you're inside the elements, then you just pull out the other side. Again, it's a 2-story facility. Looks taller than that, but it's just the way the photo's taken.
That's actually 3.
Oh, that one is a 3-story?
To say that looks like a 3-story to me.
It is.
Even
okay.
where the garage is located there.
The plan is to do a 2-story unit.
Gotcha.
building. And I don't know if you want to go through the brochure or not, John, or if it's necessary.
Sure. So yeah, my name's Jonathan Lunn. I've built a few of these in the past, and so this, the idea is that we're bringing something that's not in the area to the area. These are sort of happening. I've actually found a couple other in Northwest Indiana, actually.
There's one in Dyer, actually.
Yeah.
Being put up, yeah.
And I actually got a photo of it in my brochure. It's going to be actually similar to that one. How these work, it's really a supply and demand concept. Most of the folks come within about 3 to 5 miles from the facility. So the Dyer one will be here. We're a little south. They're, up in Hammond. There's a couple. I can't really imagine many more if we get this one approved. I think it would sort of calm down a little bit after we get this one approved, because it is basically just supply and demand. So looking for sites is really what the idea is, and to say, okay, this is a good location. This product is not in the area. For instance, people in St. John, do not have access to this product. They have to drive to other towns more to the north. The user of this product isn't a typical self-storage type user. Someone who, we found that the kind of ones you open up in the industrial park, you open the door up, the weather's right there, the snow, the rain, dirt and whatnot, get into the unit. These are designed, to access through hallways. And it's really a different customer. Those customers you find are a little more potentially, maybe industrial type, stuff. This is potentially more for, nicer, people's stuff that's a little nicer. They want to keep climate controlled. So that's why we're here, and that's why I like this. Then getting to the lot, we don't look for lots that are A+ lots. This lot is, I look for lots that are off the beaten path with a lot of the things that we need, which is we need visibility, we need traffic counts. For instance, I'm not interested in building this in in another location in St. John, really. I don't think there's any other location, really, that this would work in the area. And the one in Dyer, for instance, is in a very nice area. I can't believe, actually, it got approved there. And in my opinion, that's, really what the business is going towards. It's a lot in that environment, which is, Jewel, and, I think there's a Goodwill in there as well. There's, in the frontage is a McDonald's and a Taco Bell. It's really similar kind of location. But they had that lot for sale for a while and couldn't figure out what to do with it, and, got this use for it up in Dyer. Similar here, where these have been for sale for quite a long time. I think the Goodwill was built in, I think my records are somewhere around 2006. Maybe later, maybe 2010. But it's been many, many years. It's been a decade, if not longer, of vacancy. And it's, again, off 41, so I think, that has something to do with it. I think now the original design was potentially for more of a wholesale retail use, and now they've sold off both the corners, so it's really just this center area that's available. So that's, why I like the lot. Trying to think anything else. One of the positives with the lot is I noticed that the Goodwill doesn't pay real estate taxes because of charity. And I think I've overheard that, the TIF district goes down because of that. It doesn't get replenished, I guess, because of that. I don't know all the details with that, but all I know is they don't pay real estate taxes.
Don't deal with that at this point.
I don't know all
Talking about
the
things that I
details. Yeah, I don't really know all that either, actually. But I know they don't pay taxes, and this is gonna pay taxes much higher, I guess, is the point. It's gonna be a bigger building, so it's gonna just be a lot higher taxes, for the area. I think really that's all my key points. You know, other stuff here is just sort of what the building possibly could look like and sort of the concept showing the drive-in areas. You know, that's a very similar building where they're gonna drive into that building as well and out, they're actually gonna drive into that building and out the back. So there's, you know, that's more or less, right there, you drive into their setup, there's some carts there on the right, if you see them.
Yep.
People pull those over, you basically unload onto a cart and you kind of roll it in. And it's like a day like today, it's been raining all day. And it's like, you could have went to your storage unit very easily today in a dry environment and did whatever you need to do with your business. And then you just, you know, go through the hallways. Some of the pictures down are hallways and show folks with, so there's people on a cart moving their product.
Gotcha.
There's, you know, go down the hallways, there's a typical, you know, it's a regular storage unit, really.
Jonathan, what's a typical unit size?
These are gonna average around 100 square feet. So we're gonna have 10 by 20s, 10 by 15s, 10 by 10s. And then below that, you know, 5 by 5s, which are usually the smallest unit. In this urban areas, they do lockers, you know, which are really small, like almost half of that. But 5 by 5 is the smallest we do in this area. 5 by 5, 5 by 10, it's like a closet, you know. 10 by 10 is like a small bedroom. So the average size of a building like this will be about 100 square feet.
Any questions from the board to Mr. Leonard, to Mr. Riddick? No?
Yeah.
You have a seat for a second, see if we have from here for public comment. You're not here for public comment? Do we have anybody online for public comment? No? Okay. Come back up again, gentlemen. So I guess at this point, we need to find out if there's any questions or if there's anyone from the board would like to propose. Again, what we're doing here today, by the way, is we're either approving or, not approving, I'm sorry.
Making a recommendation.
Making a recommendation, thanks Brennan, to the town council. So we're approving the use here, we're saying that they're gonna kick it to the town council for their approval if we deem it necessary. So from that point, if someone's any questions.
Also keeping in mind, this is our overlay district.
Yep, exactly.
Well aware of that.
We need to make a motion either to
Favorable, unfavorable,
unfavorable to the town council. Thank you, Bob.
or no recommendation.
Or no recommendation, exactly. In that situation, Mr. Decker, what would happen if we made no recommendation?
Good job, Bob.
So,
We've never done that before as far as when I've been on this board, so I'm just curious as how that would roll.
if there was no recommendation, it still would be presented to the town council for their consideration. So, yeah.
Would they then come back to us after that, for any other variance,
they don't need
or?
No, I think if, again, you're talking about a no
Well, just,
recommendation.
I guess, in either direction, I'm just trying to make sure I understand what the next, if they were to go to the town council and they approved it, just for example, they approved it, would that come back to us for a variance regarding this, or it'd be approved to start the
Yeah, no, the variance has been applied for with the town. And so this is the first step in that process, to be
Okay.
considered by the Board of Zoning Appeals. And so you conduct the hearing and receive the facts, and ultimately, based on the evidence and the ordinances, of course, the application of the facts to the ordinances, will make a decision whether to make a favorable recommendation or an unfavorable recommendation or no recommendation to the town council. At that point, the town council will take it up, and it will review what the Board of Zoning Appeals has done, but ultimately, it will decide whether to approve or disapprove the use variance that's
Gotcha.
been applied
I
for
understood
with the
that.
town.
Okay.
And that would be, barring any, legal appeals to courts, they would have the final say on whether the use variance is approved or not.
Gotcha.
It would not come back to the Board of Zoning Appeals.
Oh, but the next step would be go to the plan commission for site plan approval, if we do get the use variance.
Right.
So we're not done by any means.
Oh, no, I'm just trying to
Right.
make sure I understand that the process here. I guess I would turn to Mr. Blazak too, from your point of view, being on the town council, in situations like this, if it were any of those, I guess what would the town council come back to? Because it doesn't meet the criteria for the overlay district. I'm just curious, in your opinion or what you've seen.
I think that the council itself independently would, each individual will have to make their own decision.
Okay, fair enough.
Based on what was presented and the neighborhood it's in.
True.
Okay, where it's going to be and what the use of the land, as Doug said, it's got limited uses because of the elevation differences.
Sure.
Therefore, those kind of considerations would be considered.
Yeah, and keep in mind that they're unable to speak about this at the council level because they've already had their public hearing here. They're not afforded that same.
No, I'm not asking,
opportunity.
I'm just out of curiosity what they've done in the past. That's what was my ask for that, Joe.
It's an individual decision.
Sure.
And each guy will evaluate what he feels and what its application is in the neighborhood. If it's a terrible lot, and this is a good use to put the actual property instead of just leaving a big hole with a 50-foot elevation difference, why would you even consider not paying attention and possibly using up a good piece of
Sure.
property to not put something there of this caliber? And this is not just your, $50, $100 a month storage facility. This is nice.
Yeah.
And it fits the town, I think, but that's my personal opinion.
Thank you. From there, I guess we'll, make a favorable, unfavorable, or other recommendation to the town
And
council.
Mr. Chairman, I would also advise the board and the members to follow the specific requirements, the test, if you will, the steps that
Yes.
have to be met, which are set forth in the findings of fact, in arriving at a recommendation this evening.
Want a chance to review those finding of facts. Any further questions for the petitioners after reading those requirements? Please speak up. If not,
Can I say something?
absolutely.
Good. One of the things I run into a lot is these, my use is normally not in the zoning code. Okay, so I've done this a lot over the years, and that's kind of why I start from showing the kind of the what of it. A lot of people get caught up in the word self-storage. I literally, when I walked in the door and I met, I think, Jenna the first time, people ask me, what's the use? What's the use? What's the use? And I never want to tell people. I want to say, it's new, it's interesting, it's different. It's, because as soon as I say self-storage, everybody goes, oh, it's a garage, junk, blah, blah, blah. Okay, and that's what happens. And so I try to resist it. And so that's, it's not in the code. So of course it's, illegal. It's basically illegal if it's not in the code, is really how they write these things. They're written by attorneys. That's why we have boards, that's why we have these meetings, that's why we explain things. This code was written 10 years ago, nobody even knew what it was. So that's the concept. And, and my experience is the code, I'm not in the code ever. And even if I am in the code as self-storage, it's not true, because that means I'm self-storage like these other things, which I'm not. I'm a total different use. So, I don't know, that's my 2 cents on that. And when it says self-storage is illegal, it's a new use, is basically the only thing I can think of. And over the years, I've tried to communicate that as best I could. Thank you.
Yep.
Mr. LaRue, can I just comment or rebuttal on that?
Absolutely.
I just want to clarify that on the staff level, the reason why staff asks for the use is to help guide the petitioner. Staff has no opinion on the use. We give the facts and we present that to the board that makes the decisions. I just want to clarify that before you start making
And I meant that
accusations on the
personally,
staff.
it was my personal picadillo
Okay.
as far as.
So there is a permitted
saying
use.
Self-storage.
Storage units are permitted in an industrial section by right. However, once you get into the overlay district, it falls under variance or special exception or a use variance. I just want to clarify that from the staff level.
Thank you.
Any rendering of a two-story facility like you're gonna build, and the only reason I ask that is because the people that are on the council are going to look at this and evaluate pictures.
Yeah.
They're not in the building trades.
Yeah.
Exactly. Therefore, if you've got something that shows if this is the two-story.
That right there is.
No, I understand, but I'm just saying, you've gotta.
I can make one.
You've gotta picture them, because they're gonna look at the pictures and go, that's nice to go in the overlay district, or no, it's
Right.
not. And we don't want building, no windows, nothing nice about it, just a storage
Yeah.
facility. And I think that's part of your sales pitch as far as right now, you're showing, and that's what I said, this is better, I realize it's better
Yeah.
than the average facility, and it's upgraded, and it's nicer for St. John, okay, than just your normal, parking lot or
Yeah.
whatever.
And I would have, if it would have been part of the, I gotta spend some money to do that, frankly. And if it would have been part of this meeting, I would have done it. And
No,
I
I'm
agree
not-
with what you're saying, and the best I can do is show stuff I've done in the past.
I'm not asking you to
Show
go
that
out and
one.
spend.
I would like to,
money.
I mean, I will, and I would. And it's really, that's like in a jewel, C3 or whatever code, very, very business district. And we are gonna be behind buildings. That's more exposed than we'll ever be.
Well, that's why the rendering is so important.
Yeah.
Visually, people can lock onto that and
Yeah.
go, well, that's not a bad looking building for that neighborhood, that
Right.
specific lot, so on and so forth.
And I could do that, I may not be able to do that, in the first meeting, but maybe in February if we, you know what I mean, I might need a few
It'll
weeks.
be a while before it gets to the council,
Yeah.
because it's gonna have to go to planning commission and stuff.
Okay, and I would do, I would have, absolutely. You're right.
So how many have you done of these?
I started in 1995, I'm old.
95, so 28 years?
28 years.
And other.
But you didn't bring any pictures in
Well,
to,
I did this one. I did the one on the beginning picture. The headline picture is
three-story
mine. I
one.
built that in Prospect Heights, Illinois, Arlington Heights.
show it
Illinois.
again.
This is the first render. This is what we showed the planning commission. Okay, and then that's the building.
Is
That's
that
the
a
building.
two-story, or that's a
That's the
You
building.
built that one.
This is the planning commission photo of that,
and that's two-story.
and that's 3-story.
This,
And that's the
That-
actual photograph of the building. And this was built on, you know, right across the street from this is a Target. And literally straight across the street's a Target. This is on Rand Road in Arlington Heights, Illinois. You know, it's huge traffic. It'd be like being up on 41, really, is what it would be like.
Well, see, this doesn't look like a storage facility.
Yeah,
And that's important.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm trying to say is it's different. It's not a storage facility. And that's why over the years, I'm like, I wish there was another word I could use. And, you know, residential storage warehouse, climate control, you know, they're you know, next generation, we try to use different things.
Climate control, they're going to say this is gonna be an upgraded facility.
Yeah.
When I first heard you introduce it, my first impression was there was an individual that wanted to have, excuse me, a car storage place that was environmentally controlled. You could come there and in effect, you had to make sure they were thinking of throwing parties in these storage units for their cars. And we went, that's not a real good idea, but this
No
is a-
parties in your place, though, right?
No. Cameras,
I remember that. Now
You do, huh?
I do remember that. That was a number of years
Yep,
ago.
I remember it too.
That was where the old motel used to
Right,
be.
Yep.
right.
By Aspen,
Yep. Well, it's called something else now.
yeah.
Well, my only concern is that for the variance use of the overlay district, we do have, you know, space that is, would be appropriate. I mean, the building itself, I think it's fantastic. It would be a slam dunk otherwise, or not a non-issue, but I do like the idea of maintaining the District 4 buildings, which I understand that property is a bit challenging, but I don't think it's impossible. I think the grading can be remedied to suit something that might be more desirable, since we don't really even have much of a downtown in St. John, to preserve that towards something that might be a little more amenable to the intended use.
Yep. I hear what you're saying, and that's, you know, that's why I picked the site, was because it was on the lowest end of that. You know, in that scale, it's really the lowest end of that. And I agree, there's always hope in something. I mean, there's always hope.
Yeah.
And like, the only thing I can throw back is it's been there for over 10 years. And like I said, it's now a center, you know, it's not any corners at all. And the Arby's is built, and now it's gonna get built, you know, I'm sure further. So it's becoming, you know, the decisions on that site have been made kind of over time slowly, by cutting the corner here and approving that, you know, and then we cut the corner here, we approve that. And, oh, it's the last lot, and it's gonna sit there, you know, behind it is industrial. You know, the front seems to be understood and done, I agree. And then, so this is really just a question mark. So it's like, okay, what business is gonna come between Goodwill and Planet Fitness on this grade? I agree with you. And for what purpose? Okay, from the purpose of the town is protecting your overlay district, but really, I'm gonna pay taxes in line with Target. Okay, so that's gonna be $150,000, $140,000 a year, right there. Goodwill pays 0 taxes. Planet Fitness is probably gonna pay 10 grand or 20 grand in taxes. I don't know. We're definitely gonna be paying much, much more in taxes to the town, or not to the town, you know, to the whole community, which lowers everybody's taxes eventually. So, I mean, that's the only thing I can say is that's, you know, what we're trying to control, and we're saying, so it's basically hope for something to come in that's better, and what's better, I don't know. It's just basically another decision like that we're having now, or someone who fits the code, and, you know, another Planet Fitness goes there. Fine, they pay 20 grand a year in taxes, and everybody goes unhappy. You know, I'm here right now, I've got the money in my pocket, I'm ready to build it, and I'm gonna pay 140 in taxes. And the reason, you know, you don't wanna do it, I don't wanna say personally, you know what I mean? The reason that I get pushback is because I'm not in the code. And the reason I'm not in the code is it's a different use. And the use is totally high quality. Proven by Dyer, Indiana, putting one in the Jewel. Right, in the Jewel. That's proof right there that this is a needed item and it's just not in the code. That's the whole point. If it was in the code,
But that's
everybody-
Dyer, this is St. John.
I'm not arguing that. I'm
Yeah.
saying, I'm
And
arguing the commercial district approval.
Right.
That's what I'm arguing.
Sir, you build a nice
Yeah,
looking
that's
building,
fine.
Is it the right fit for the overlay district? I'm leaning, no, it's not. St. John, as for development and for commercial, we're still pretty young. There's still, more room for growth. And I just, even though that's a nice looking building that you put up, and there's probably a need, we just, on Hart Street, we just approved, not this board, but, Plan Commission approved, storage facility. Too bad you didn't put that, you didn't
See, I don't want to.
You didn't get,
I don't
you
wanna-
didn't get over
see,
that.
That's what you're again saying they're the same.
Yeah.
They're not. They're not at all the same. It's two different uses.
I'm not saying,
Different
I'm,
customers.
I'm not saying they're the same.
Well, you just did.
I
The
did.
customer that goes to that one does not want to come to mine.
We
That's
can,
not the same.
we
That's all
can,
I'm
we
just
can
pushing
agree
back.
that we
I know, I'm just
disagree.
pushing back. I'm just pushing back, and that's my point. You just made my point for me. Because I'm not, there's no way I would ever go in the back off 40 ever.
I have a couple questions, if I may.
Absolutely, Jim.
How many units do you expect?
You know, it's
In this.
probably 750.
750. Doug, you did the plan for the thing over. How many were in that, on the outside thing?
I just remember how many square feet. Give me a second.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I
It
don't mean to
wasn't, but
blindside
maybe
you.
a couple dozen, if I recall on that.
I'm just trying to remember how many actual units,
I
because
want
he's
to say
got
the other
700.
space was about 70,000 square feet, and his average was a 10 by 20. He probably has 350.
So you're talking double that space, you're talking over 100,000 square feet.
It's in the range of 100,000.
80. Well, the building, you see, I don't get that. When I put a hallway through, I lose
Right,
all that
right,
space.
right.
So I
That's-
don't
yeah.
get all that. And
So-
if I build it 100,000, I only get 70.
So what's your estimated assessed value on this property? What did you, I'm sure you went through numbers already.
I only nap back of the napkin. So the CubeSmart on US 30
Mhm.
sold a few years back for like $8 million.
Okay.
$8.5 million. That's 70,000 square feet. Their taxes are in the 150 range.
Okay.
That's all I can go off. And really, again, it's supply and demand. And you're right in the sense that that's exactly the generator for the business, is population, is growth, is moving, is starting small businesses. There's a lot of things that communities do. You know, people start their business in their garage and then it goes good and they move it to a storage unit. They can't necessarily put it in a garage if it's not heated and cooled, that type of thing. If every unit's 10 by 20, there's no choice, anything. So 10 by 20, great. And you can pick whatever size you want, and it's climate, it's heated and cooled. You can go on rainy days, business people can go in and out of there and do their different businesses. So it's a different use. The clients are different. And we know that in a population that's growing, there's 33,000 people in 3 miles. And we know that 10% of the people are gonna need storage. And that's proven basically on 30 years of storage data that's now slowly kind of being accumulated and analyzed. So these folks are they're there. Whether they're all gonna drive to the Dyer one, they're all gonna drive up north, they're all gonna go somewhere else, because they're gonna need this use.
Yeah.
And
No,
that's
we
fine.
trust you on that, otherwise
Yeah,
you
that's
wouldn't be
fine.
here, you wouldn't be wasting your time. and-
Exactly. I would encourage a shot with I don't know. I don't want to beat my head against the wall, but I just think you can hang your hat on, the only thing you can hang your hat on really is it's not in the code. So when they say it's not approved use, that's not a statement of, it's sort of like, it's a new creation. So, and basically it's written by lawyers and they go, okay, well, if it's not here, it's out. It's banned. And there are ways to get it in, and these are the ways, is to present ideas and to say they're new and to enter them into the code. And to do it, safely with, a lot of times it's, special exceptions, and a lot of times it's with different, you mentioned make it look interesting or make it, and said if I had a plan, that could be, one of the items, you know what I mean? It has to have, it already is in the US overlay district, which I would have to apply with, which
Right.
is 8 corners and windows, and it has to go through a lot of different
No,
planning
no
commission
overhead doors facing
review.
Route 41, all
Right.
that stuff.
There's many, many hoops that would have to be jumped through. And, the building itself is conducive to fitting in. That's actually one of the easy, not easy, but it's one of the things that you can do. You can make it disappear.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
With all this information, someone would like to make a motion regarding the petitioner.
I would like to make an unfavorable recommendation for the property at 10,045. That the approval will not be injurious to public health, safety, morals, comfort, or general welfare of the community. The use and the value of the area adjacent to the property included in the variance will not be affected in a substantially adverse manner. The need for the variance will not arise from some condition peculiar to property, which it will not be peculiar to property. The applicant did not establish that the strict application of the terms of the zoning ordinance will constitute an unnecessary hardship if applied to the property for which the variance is sought, and the petitioner has not established that approval does not interfere substantially with comprehensive plan of the town of St. John.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Sergio, will you please do a roll call vote, please?
Bob Rolson,
Yes.
Yolanda Cardona's not in, Drago Popovic,
Yes?
Brendan Sheeran,
Yes.
and Mark LaRue.
No. Motion carries. At this point, would they still go to town council even with the unfavorable?
I still go to the town council, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, that's how it goes.
okay. That's why I thought, just wanted to have.
Thank you for your
Gentlemen,
time.
thank you so much for your time. Good luck with your endeavor. Next on the agenda is old new business, which we don't have anything. Open for public comment. I don't see anybody in the room or online. With that, we will close and adjourn.